series Sonic X. Considering this is a series, if you haven't seen Sonic making a pinky promise to Helen to take her to the island is removed in the dub, but 4Kids keeps the lead up and the scene right after where it shows them making a pinky promise from a distance. I guess the problem was the close-up, as Sonic is a giant rodent, technically, and it would have a weird message to have a human empathizing with him. All joking aside, it was probably too much for the network and they decided to can it. Sonic making a pinky promise to Helen to take her to the island is I guess the problem was the close-up, as Sonic is a giant have a two-part change. First is that a scene of Helen's father grabbing bottles of alcohol for dinner is removed, followed by a change wherein the bottles he does grab is recolored to orange. This episode makes more references to alcohol than any before it now that I think about it, but this is a pretty on-brand edit for 4Kids and references to alcohol as a whole. Episode 15 has been retitled from Mobile Fortress Eggfort Attacks to Skirmish in the Sky. Regardless, Cream inquiring about other kinds of licenses is removed, as is her frustration with Cheese being classified a pet, as it now has a pet's license issued. And that leads into the next change, which is Amy looking over her passport. Not only is the text on the outside removed, but the text on the inside as well. Here we find out that the passport was issued on April 6th and April 3rd. Not sure how that works, but okay boomer, whatever. Later on, the magazine that Amy is reading has its text removed. It originally said Sightseeing, and immediately after, Grand the magazine. Strangely, all the other Sightseeing, and immediately after, Grand Blue Sapphire Sea is removed. Strangely, all the other text is kept. This is baffling as it's largely incoherent and full of English text. This is the kind of stuff that 4Kids generally remove passing by. And finally, we have two changes on the same item. The furnace box thing has its icon changed twice. First in this shot where white stuff is added, and then in this shot where all the text is replaced with a picture of fire. The two don't align, although you can't really see the first one all that well. Episode 18, done to avoid any international removes the scene of Mr. Tanaka bowing, but anytime there's Japanese text, expect 4Kids to edit it out, and this happens all throughout the episode. The second scene removal is that Sonic actually meets with some geishas in the Japanese version. This is cut out of the dub. It's about 15 seconds removed altogether. About 15 seconds removed altogether. 15 seconds removed altogether. Scene of Mr. Tanaka bowing, and Amy explaining to Cream why bowing is important. Shortly, scene of Mr. Tanaka bowing, and Amy explaining to Cream why bowing is important. And finally, the final scene of the episode is cut.